Damn, that's Norvik. That really is Norvik. Damn, how'd they know? How'd they know, man? How'd they know? The life and suffering of Sir Brant is upon us. Do I not own the life and suffering of... Oh, it's not Sir Jiren. It's life and suffering of Prince Jiren. That makes sense. I was like, do I not own the other one? That doesn't make any sense. I could have sworn I did. Alright, thank you, Norvik. Thank you, Nifton and Novak and all that good stuff. Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday. I'm eating saltwater taffy. Okay, so I bit my tongue like 2 days ago, and it is starting to hurt. It is swollen. It is tender. I can feel it in my mouth every time I move my mouth around. Even while my mouth sits, not doing anything, I can still feel it. I can feel my blood in my bones. Oh, God. Hair in my mouth. I'm eating a banana taffy. I think I've also got a watermelon and a cherry taffy. I'm not sure how I feel about taffy. I'm not sure how I feel about Daffy Duck. And so, like, it's got such a mild flavor. It always makes me think they didn't put enough in there, you know? My eyes are most definitely open. Let me resynchronize my body. Let me resynchronize my body. Everybody's after love. Accidentally in love. Ah! Accidentally in love. If I were Shrek, I'd be jerking off. Is that what he was doing? Is that why they wanted to kill him? Because he was a gooner? Hey, you know, I thought as much. Accidentally in love. I'm accidentally in love. That song has been playing non-stop in my head for the past couple of days. Alright, Sir Brant. Alright, Mr. Brant. Let's see if we can survive the revolution. At the ripe old age of 27. At the brap old age of 27. That's masked off. Uh-oh. Let me see. It's been 2 days since you last saw Philippe. 2 days since that terrible, dreadful night. You managed to buy yourself a moment of respite. What should you do next? Philippe will never forgive your betrayal. There can be no doubt about that. His men will surely be looking for you already. They will find this place in a matter of days. By this point, we've run away to what's-his-name's house, and we are trying to... We're trying to survive. It is time to act, or run for your life. What will you do? Ask family for help? That's not going to happen. We don't have a family anymore. Neither are we favored by the Overseer. Side with Mayor Egmont, yeah? Side with Remy. Flee the city. That's true death. I just die. That's crazy. This is just an ending. Well, side with Mayor Egmont. Well, you know, it's a free city. The free city of Egmont. Your only chance for freedom is an uprising, a revolt that goes out of control, a revolution that cannot be squashed by the secret chancellery, the prefecture, or even the legion. If Philippe loses control of the situation, he will have no choice but to flee Magra. And more importantly, the people of Anazot will finally have a chance for real change. If Mayor Egmont manages to coerce the Overseer into making Anazot a free city-state, it will become the first city in which commoners can govern themselves and defend their own rights. It's time to leave your shelter and meet Egmont. We didn't have enough points with Sophia, so we can't do a full revolution. We can only do the sub-revolution, which sucks. But, you know, we did go down the path of wealth, so... Hell, you know, a Republican revolution, I guess, is better than nothing. Are you ready, Theodore? My people are prepared. It's your turn now. Yes, you're ready. You have to begin the revolt as soon as you can before the secret chancellery can act. The element of surprise is your only advantage. You're right. We can't delay any longer. I knew Sophia should never have doubted you. Your years of experience make it so easy. Even while hiding from Philippe's agents and fearing betrayal from anyone close to you, you still retain your sway over the underground, enough to command the people to fill the streets and unleash their fury against the nobles and the Empire. Your messengers quickly distribute short notes throughout the city. The coded messages in every dead drop is short and clear. It is time. You try to get in touch with Sophia, but no one has seen her since the night you decided to betray Philippe. You can only hope she will be there at the right time, armed and ready. The final preparations are over. Tomorrow, Anazat will begin its journey toward freedom. Is it time for a revolt? The Free City. 8 long years have passed. In that time, the people have grown bold, and now the commoners are finally ready to take control. The age of obedience to the nobility ends now. People fill the Chancellery Square, excited, angry, shaking clubs and hatchets over their heads. Mayor Egmont has abandoned his lavish suit for a commoner's plain shirt. He clambers up onto an impromptu podium made of stacked crates. People of Anazat, the time has come. They humiliate us, they squeeze us dry, they obey no laws. We're not gonna take it anymore. We're not just some lowborn rabble. The Empire stands on the shoulders of the common estate. We're in charge. The excited mob echoes his call with passion. We're in charge. Egmont raises a hand and points at the windows of the Chancellery behind him. The Empire cannot control us now. We will have the same rights as the noble estate. We will make the new faith legal. We will return the city and the province to the people who live in this land, who freed it, who feed it, who toil for it. We're in charge. The crowd's cries shake the windows of the nearby buildings. Their excitement has reached a fevered pitch. More and more people keep flocking to the square from every street. Follow me, people. We're going to occupy the Chancellery. We're going to take over the city and demand the Overseer recognize our rights. Onward, to the Chancellery! You hear the clattering of hooves, horsemen riding beneath the Archduke's banner. The cavalry troops of the noble militia appear at the edge of the square. They advance. The shields of the Anazat Legion garrison cover their flanks. The riders grip their spears, ready to strike. The battalion bristles with unsheathed swords. Soldiers surround the square, cutting off all escape routes. Do not be afraid, stay where you are. They will never dare to attack us. But the old mine owner is wrong. The cavalry moves. The riders crash into the mob. People flee in terror, pushing, shoving, screaming, trying to outrun the hooves and the neighing horses. The noble militia hacks at the rioters without mercy. Sophia! Sophia! Soon, several riders reach Mayor Egmont. He's completely unarmed. They pull him from the podium and drag him away. Egmont is done for, but you cannot dwell on that. You have to take charge of the people before they start to panic. You push your way to the stack of crates. Do not retreat, you shout. Do not surrender. Egmont gave his life for this. We must avenge him. We're stronger than this. We're in charge. Your voice grows louder and louder, every word adding fuel to the flames of rage burning in their hearts. Our fight is far from over. We'll show them all. Those Imperial butchers need to be taught a lesson. They cannot contain the fury of the people. Bam, I should have got those guns. Should have kept the scheming up. The riders are still corralling the mob, cutting down anyone in their way. You see some of them head for you, but the human sea moves to block their advance. Alita throws her slender, fragile body at a rider. His sword cuts her down. Father Fouad grips a rider by the foot and drags him from his horse. Everyone here is ready to die for you today. For you today. Oh shit, Alita dies. But despite their bravery, their wooden clubs and stakes are no match for Imperial swords and spears. You hear a deafening salvo. Thick white smoke wafts above the square, another volley. The cavalrymen fall, their gilded armor pierced by bullets. The horses buck, startled by the loud noise, throwing their noble riders in terror and trampling those who fall beneath their hooves. You spot people with long muskets and rifles dotting the square. You hear more thunderous gunshots. There's smoke and mayhem everywhere. The riders who survive run for their lives. The Legion soldiers also begin to retreat from the gunfire. A bearded, bald stranger rushes to your side. Sophia told us to say hi. Quit gawking and get up, buddy. We need you. Sophia's men quickly move through the mob, then duck down back alleys. The sound of gunfire ceases. There are hundreds of people around you. They look at you and their bloodied hands, and those who now lie on the cobblestones under their feet, clutching at their stomachs. Mayor Egmont is gone. You're the only one left. Before they can come to their senses, you begin to shout, "The nobles will never trample the common folk ever again. We have the weapons. We have the numbers. We are the last straw. The days of the old regime are numbered. The Overseer will hear us, whether he wants to or not. We will not be stopped." The scream of the mob screams, you scream, and the mob screams with you. We're in charge. The storm is about to rock Anazat. Are you ready? I'm in hiding. Oh yes. Mayor Egmont is dead? True death. They killed his ass. They grabbed him and killed him. Sophia is an ally. Aw. Very good. An unrest, a reign of terror, and the new faith. Good. Oh shit, it's time for a fucking revolt. Inspire the people to fight. All out war. Well, we didn't get the last straw, but we got a free city. And we fucking survived. Profitable business. Well, at least I don't have to worry about the family. Yeah, I didn't get the last straw right. Last straw breaks free of its chains and incites a full-blown uprising against the Empire. Yeah, we didn't get that. That's a shame. But we got the next best one. The peaceful years are over. The storm of the revolt is brewing in Anazop. Tomorrow will be the day when you will reap the harvest of all your deeds during these 8 years. Let's see what it got me. Oh goodness, I'm kind of nervous. Do I die? Do I simply die?
At last, the day has come which would decide my fate, as well as that of my family, and perhaps the entire Empire. The day of the revolt.
Oh shit. Oh shit. This event is a consequence of your previous actions, the Free City. And there's our revolt. The revolt begins! Mayor Egmont is dead. You now lead those who follow him. They trust you and hope that you will lead them to freedom. Gaius Tempest must hear you. He will have to make concessions. But you're not the only leader of an incipient rebellion. Sophia and her soldiers are planning to take over Anazot, and they have no interest in negotiating with the Overseer. Harsh and merciless, they believe that freedom can only be taken by force. Their revolution will inevitably destroy the Empire. Aside from them, disgruntled citizens are rising up all over the city. Priests of the New Faith and many of the nobles of the Mantle are now sided with the commoners. After hearing Egmont's fervent speeches and your impassioned pleas, the masses are now waging a desperate struggle for their rights. It cannot be stopped anymore. Felipe Alfaro is the first to realize it. His scheme has birthed a genuine revolt, and the secret chancellery has lost any chance it once had of putting it down. Fearing for his life, the advisor flees Anazot. The shadow of the Imperial Executioner that has loomed over you all these years is now gone. You're finally free, and soon your city will be free too. The revolt is currently at a stalemate. We want the rebels, we want a bloodbath. The general strength of the revolt, forces gathered by the rebels, solidarity among them, support for the rebellion among the townspeople, the outcome of the struggle for Anazoti, will depend on how strong the revolt will be at the moment of the decision of the decisive collision. Troops, military forces that you have managed to gather under your command. I have a squad. The clergy, your influence among the priesthood of Anazot, it depends on the support of the clergy, whether you'll be able to prevail in the struggle for the city. They cautiously support me. The nobles also cautiously support me. Influence among the noblemen of Anazot depends on the support of the nobility, whether you'll be able to prevail in the struggle for the city, and the common folk. Influence among the common people of Anazot depends on the support of the commoners, whether you'll be able to prevail in the struggle of the city. Okay. There's the new revolt tab. I have to pick a side. Defender of the Empire or Rebel. A peaceful victory would be leading the revolt. The revolt is over 6, more than 1 troop squad, more than 3 for the common folk, more than 2 for the clergy, more than 1 for the noble, and power is 3 or 4. A military victory would be leading the revolt, a revolt of over 6, troops over 2, and common folk over 3. I'm thinking a military victory is more Defender of the Empire, which we will not be doing. We will not be defending the Empire. Alright, so those are the new stats. Welcome! The Rebel event has happened. Side with the revolt. You take the side of the revolt, and so I did. Alright, so here are the conditions that we need to meet to win. Obviously, we have to be leading the revolt. The revolt has to be over or equal to 6 for us. I'm thinking a bloodbath, though. I have to have at least 1 or more troops. And the common folk has to be equal or more to 3. Everything else sort of draws from that. A peaceful victory would go crazy, though. Eliminate Sophia. So we lose if she takes charge? Hang on, I'm eating the last of my saltwater taffy. Yummy. Alright, it's time for a revolt. Let's take a look at the new stats. At dawn. For years now, Anazat has been simmering like a cook pot over a slow flame. The powerlessness of the simple folk, unable to change the old order, has gradually given way to rage. Finally, this anger became stronger than their age-old submission to the higher estate and their fear of divine retribution. This rage was the spark that lit the fire of the revolt. All of Anazat's commoners have risen up in rebellion. Workers, artists, merchants, beggars. They all long to break free of the noble tyranny and perpetual suffering that is their lot. The most daring among them have joined the last straw. The secret society has sent entire squads of trained soldiers out into the streets. They hand out guns and bombs to the people, weapons that give them a chance to wage war on equal footing against noblemen descended from the generations of warriors. But the most dangerous weapon the rebels possess is the people's court. The commoners have claimed the right to sentence their enemies to true death. The first nobles executed by the last straw this very night served as proof that these sentences are real. For the first time in the history of the Empire, the divine force of the law is in possession not only of the noblemen, but also of the common estate. Among the rebels are many new believers. They're ready to take up arms to defend their faith and freedom from the lots. They are led by Leonard, the abbot of the temple by the Silver Tree. Prefect Elborn's allegiance remains unknown. The Supreme Judge has taken such pains to give the lowly estate more rights, while he support a revolt that strives to do the same. Anazat has recently been rocked by a series of spontaneous assemblies and protests. The mob demands equal rights for all estates and freedom from the tyranny of the nobles. The authorities must recognize the new faith and grant the commoners the right to choose their own lot. By nightfall, the rebels had disposed of the guards and taken over the city gate. In a matter of minutes, Anazat was under their control. It is the duty of the overseer Gaius Tempest to crush the revolt. The Archnean nobleman feared for his own position and power, so he was reluctant to punish the rebellious city as discontent slowly grew year by year. But the ensuing uprising has left him no choice. The Overseer has announced a full-scale mobilization. In the morning, the Legion will march towards Anazat under his command and attempt to return the city to Imperial authority with fire and sword. The expeditious arrival of the Legion is the only hope the nobles have left now that they are locked inside the city. Members of the higher estate, especially the old aristocratic families, fear the coming rampage and strive to keep order on the streets. Meanwhile, the Inquisition led by Sister Jean is trying to stop the new believers and urging the people to reject the revolt. Both groups are aware that if the rest of the province follows Anazat into rebellion and chaos, the Empire itself and the Divine Order will begin to crumble. After nightfall, the city grows quiet. Its courtyards and squares are empty. In mansions and palaces, hasty negotiations are held and schemes are concocted. In dark cellars, the revolt is being prepared. Armed units are gathering. Parishes are getting ready to defend the temples of the new faith against the Inquisition. All citizens, rich and poor, common and noble, are arming themselves, some with ancestral swords, others with cleavers. Anazat is preparing, waiting for the dawn. As the Legion arrives for the assault, the rebels assemble into a militia and get ready to fend off the Imperial army. But there is little unity in their camp. Their leaders are already mired in a power struggle. There are also defenders of the Imperial Order within the city walls. Members of the old aristocracy, soldiers of the Inquisition, priests of the old faith, commoners unwilling to defy the law, and the twins' design. These people too refuse to lay down their arms. The first rays of the rising sun light up the horizon. This day will go down in history. Your entire life has led you to this moment. Step by step, you've made yourself a man you are now. Your actions today could alter the course of history, but are you ready to go the distance? What will have become of you by the time the sun sets? Lads, it's a stalemate. Oh goodness. It's time for destiny. Outcomes of this chapter. The most important event that will end this chapter. Only one of them will happen. The Legion is defeated. The revolt wins a decisive victory over the Imperial forces. Look at us. Revolt over 6, troops over 2, common folk over 3. And leading the revolt. Peace with the Overseer. Overseer Gaius Tempest is forced to accept the demands of the revolt. Leading the revolt. Revolt over 6, troops over 1, common folk 3, clergy 2, noble 1, power 3, 4. The city is defended. The rebels manage to fight back the attack of the Legion and hold Anazat for some time. Leading the revolt. Revolt over 1, troops over 2, common folk over 2, willpower over 10. I'm out of willpower. I completely forgot that I'm just like out of willpower. So I've got no movement left. Whatever happens next has to just happen. I'm hoping I can pay my way out of it. The revolt is defeated. The revolt is suppressed by fire and sword. Anazat is back under the rule of the Empire. Let me look at the map. Here we are in Anazat, city of your birth and the capital of the arid province of Magra. Indeed. And the surrender of the revolt. The rebels surrender to the mercy of the Overseer. Anazat is back under the rule of the Empire. The Anazat Massacre. The revolt led by Sophia wins at the cost of a relentless massacre. The Dark Times. Neither side succeeds. Chaos and disorder spread all over the Empire. I like that one. True death. My earthly life is over. Family events. I don't have a family anymore, so the family is in the city. The Brant family chose to remain in the rebellious city of Anazat. Family has perished. All of your family has perished in the fire of the revolt. The family has fled. Brant family hastily leaves the rebellious Anazat, and the family is safe. Brant family survives the night of the revolt. Not quite. Deeds that you can accomplish on your own chosen life path. Alright. I can escape from the city myself, flee the violent streets of Anazat. Funny. I can lead the revolt by killing Sophia. It looks like. Defender of the Empire, take the side of the defenders of the Imperial government. And just be a rebel, which is me siding with the revolt. And so I am. The revolt screen is now available. Oh goodness, here we go! Kind of exciting stuff. It is now morning of the revolt. The morning of the revolt. The crimson sun slowly rises above the horizon. Time to muster. You make your way through the city in chaos, carefully observing what is happening on the streets. The rebellion is flaring up again after a night of calm. Once again, the commoners are taking to the squares in droves. The grim resolve of the rebels' eyes speaks volumes. They're determined to seize their freedom or die trying. There are others, however, who are huddling inside their homes, locking their doors and praying to survive the revolt unscathed. With every passing minute, you see more and more people carrying banners. They bear a hand clutching a lantern, the mark of the last straw. The conspirators have left the shadows at last. They hand out guns to the common folk, using these last precious minutes to quickly teach them about how to fire them. Whoa. The artisans are out of the street too, cobbling together makeshift shields out of wood with nails to protect against the nobles and their blades. Fortunately for the rebels, the nobles remain divided. The old noble bloodline has sided with Doris Otten. The Archnean has sworn to bring down the revolt by any means necessary. The noble militia now stands guard in the Silver District, where the city's most eminent aristocrats have their homes. They represent the greatest threat to the revolt. Many nobles of the mantle, however, are all too eager to violate their oath of fealty and side with the rebels. Though ennobled to serve the Empire, they no longer want to suffer under the boot of the highborn Archneans and human gentry. But there are many more who are still undecided. Soldiers and low-ranking officers of the Legion from the city's garrisons, officials and functionaries. They have all found themselves caught between the Overseer's orders and the People's Revolt. Many of them are biding their time, hoping the Legion or the Prefecture will spring into action and quell the unrest, but the Prefecture has yet to react. The city prefect, Sir Elborn, still has not made it clear which side he is on. Even the clergy has been swept up in the strife. Abbot Leonard is gathering new believers for a procession to the Silver Tree, where the people will elect a new patriarch. Old believer priests and common folk who prefer to cling to the lots and save their souls stand in opposition. Even the Inquisition, whose duty it is to protect the Church and the Twin Gods against heresy, has been tainted by this schism. Whoa. You'd imagine being a fucking new believer inquisitioning. The true fight for the fate of Anazat will begin in a matter of hours. You have had 8 days to curry influence. I did not unlock any of these. Holy shit. Oh, because I don't have any willpower? Oh, no. This is because I'm just bad. Who can you sway to your side? Who will be willing to sacrifice their lives and fight for your cause? Nobody, apparently. I'm not the path of the priest, nor am I a defender of the Empire, and I don't have eloquence of 16. I'm a manipulator. I cannot incite a riot among the Legion troops, because I'm not a defender of the Empire, and Thomas's new life has not been accepted, and there's no path of the nobleman for me, or valor. I cannot assemble a squad of loyal rebels, because I don't have 16 scheming, which would have been good for me. I cannot get support of the old priests, nor can I unite the nobles, and I cannot buy the people's loyalty, even though I went manipulation. 'Cause Wait, what? Why can't I take this? I have wealth of 6, manipulation of 20. I can, okay. So I'm not allowed to be the rebel when I take this? Oh, okay, so if I didn't have this, if I didn't already have the rebel, okay, so I think the rebel already gave me boosted stats. Yeah, I think the rebel already gave me common folk 2 and 1 for everything already, plus the extra revolt stalemate. I think that's what it gave me. So I can't really do any of this, but I'm gonna tell you, to be honest, I think the extra willpower is gonna come in handy. Also, this gives me the destiny of the Defender of the Empire. Oh my god. Plus, I'm already the rebel, so I was never really able to take these anyway. I was never going to be able to take any of these anyway, because I already picked a side. Are you telling me there's a neutral side to take? That's crazy. Alright, bide my time. This will be a long day indeed. It will take all your wits and composure to do what must be done. You spend these last few hours of quiet biding your time, mustering your strength. You keep your ear to the ground and plan your next move. The timing for this respite rest could not have been more perfect. The storm is yet to come. Both the defenders of the Imperial regime and the rebels need time to gather their forces for the pivotal clash. Gaius Tempest and the Legion will not arrive in Anazat until nightfall. Only then will the fate of the revolt be decided in the ultimate struggle. The Legion is already on the march toward the rebellious city. What can the rebels do to oppose it? Everything depends on how the conflicts of the day play out before the sun sets. The Prefecture and the Gendarmes, will they pursue the rebels or take their side? Leonard's procession of new believers to the Silver Tree. Will the people elect their first patriarch? The disjointed groups of insurgents, will they be able to be united? And if so, who will unite them? Your thoughts are interrupted. The sound of gunfire fills the city streets again. The lull is over. You can't wait any longer. I'm hoping this doesn't move the bar forward. I'm hoping there's... Oh, God. Ooh, Path of Lotless moment. And so I am. A cornered beast. Noon approaches. Your thoughts keep returning to Sophia as you muster your forces for the impending fight for the city's future. Where is she right now? What are her plans? What are her orders for the last straw? Joined by your followers, you carefully make your way through the now empty streets. Danger could lurk behind any corner. You take another turn and hear someone moaning in pain. You quickly zigzag to the edge of the Silver District. At the end of the street, in a square in which several wooden stakes have been hastily erected, nailed to each stake is a commoner dressed in bloody, tattered rags. What is going on here? You sign for your men to take cover by the wall of an old factory. You hear the hooves of a single horse clattering along the cobblestones. A stately horseman rides toward the stakes, a luxurious cloak draped across his shoulders. You have known his dire from since you were a lad. You've known his dire since you were a lad. The Archnean's arrogant voice echoes through the square. People of Anazat, heed my words. I am Darius Otten, High Commander of Magra, leader of the noble militia. Otten points the tip of his sword at the writhing commoners. Oh! So Sophia comes out and battles him then. Okay. Right. This is what happened. This is what happens, I think. These low-born wretches dared to sneak into the Silver District and rob noble homes, but I will not grant them the mercy of a lesser death by my blade. They will live and suffer as befits their lot. This is their divine duty. Know this, rebels. Anyone who follows your precious Sophia will share the same fate. I know my runaway servant's wily ways. She'll send you all at me without a second thought, and you will all die by my hand. She won't care. She's completely insane. All she wants is to see Anazat burned to the ground. Your men exchange uneasy glances. You motion for them to remain quiet. You need to stay out of sight for now. Sophia, I know you're around here somewhere. You've grown up, but you're still my property. I can see your people turning their backs on you. All hope is lost. Come back to your lord and master. You will be mine forever. The lone rider is motionless and silent in the empty square. It's quiet. Even the captive commoners stifle their moans. Bang! The squad of last straw rebels spills out into the alleyway and rushes at Otten. Sophia is the first among them, her plain shirt stained with blood, a long heavy musket in her hands. You lying blue-faced whore, son! I want him alive! The people's court will deal with him! Sophia stops and takes aim. Another gunshot rumbles. Otten's mare collapses, wounded, taking her right into the ground. The rebels run towards Otten, celebrating his downfall, but then you hear the deafening clacking of hooves coming from the Silver District. The noble militia. The riders were waiting to ambush Sophia. The elite cavalrymen smash into the last straw squad like heavy steel gauntlet. The rebels are taken by surprise. They are about to retreat. Otten gets up from under his horse, his sword at the ready. Not one step back, damn you! We'll fight them to the end! The militia has the rebels and their leaders surrounded. Your people are hugging the wall, trying to stay out of sight. They watch the fight anxiously, awaiting your orders. It's time to act! If Sophia is captured, she will not be there to lead the rebellion. However, if she escapes, the revolt will be ruled by her merciless, vindictive cruelty. This is about more than just Sophia, you remind yourself. This confrontation could decide the fate of the entire revolt. There are only two things I can do. I can rush to Sophia's side, or I can order a retreat. I can't stop her, I can't get rid of her, and I can't capture her. Capture her and have her executed is crazy. Valor and scheming. Order a retreat? She is not my lover. Oh! I get an extra point for the revolt and willpower, which is good. I can stop her. Sophia becomes hopeful. Sophia becomes leading the revolt. Sophia becomes executed. Get rid of Sophia. Sophia becomes captive. Otten likes me. That's funny. Rush to Sophia's side. This would give me revolt and troops. And willpower. I do need revolt. Hang on, let me... I only get a couple of these choices. So I gotta be really careful. The Legion is defeated? I don't want the Anazon Massacre. The city is defended. The Legion is defeated. Well, I wouldn't mind... Honestly, the Massacre wouldn't be too bad. And it looks like ordering retreat would get the Massacre regardless. And this gives me willpower. Well, it looks like I'm getting the... It looks like I'm getting the Massacre regardless. Legion is defeated. I'm gonna need 6 revolt regardless, but I need extra troops and more common folk. I'm hoping for dark times, TBH. Yeah, I need more troops and more common folk, and, well, I only need 1 revolt. But I do need the extra troop, so I would not mind rushing to Sophia's side and getting the extra troop then. +2 revolt? Oh. Oh, I see how you can get... I see how you can get to the Massacre. You get the revolt up to a bloodbath. See, now that's interesting, then. I don't know where this would go, though. The extra troop would be nice. The extra troop would be nice. And I need it for one of these endings. And we only have... Hang on. Oh, goodness. We only have, like, a couple of these left. Yeah, let's go help her, I think. Oh, goodness. These are some pivotal decisions. I have the manipulation for this, but Sophia's not our lover. If she was, we'd be able to take charge, but the revolt would go down, which would be bad. It looks like we're getting a bloodbath regardless. Alright, let's go rush to Sophia's side. Maybe we just get a bloodbath then. You give your orders quietly. Ready your weapons, be quiet, follow me. We must rescue Sophia and her people. The rage of battle and the deafening rumble of gunfire render the noble riders blind and deaf to your approach. You bring your squad closer, waiting for the perfect moment to take them by surprise. Sophia and her rebels fight with all her might, but the riders keep pushing. The ring around them becomes smaller and smaller. Squad, attack! Our cause is just. Sophia, we're coming. Death to tyrants. Steel grinding against steel, clouds of acrid smoke, the stench of blood, horses neighing in terror. You used to walk to Sir Tibor's school along this very street, but now it's the site of a terrible battle. You find Sophia in the chaotic skirmish. You follow the flashes of magical yellow light. One by one, the riders fall from their saddles, paralyzed by her spells. Sophia's sepia eyes burn with rage. Come here, Otten. I'll show you what your servant can do. Driven by blinding rage, the desperate young woman faces the armed and armored riders on her own. You finally make your way to her side. Sophia! Theodore, finally! I thought they got you. Come on, let's crush them together. You scream over the sounds of skirmish. No! This is a battle you cannot win. They have to abandon the captives. You have to get out of this trap right now. Sophia takes a moment to catch her breath and return to her senses. The furious yellow light in her eyes die down. Her loyal fighters form a shield around her, blocking another assault by Otten's riders. Reinforcements on horseback are already heading your way from the noble Silver District. You grab Sophia by the elbow. Your voice hoarse, you scream an order at the rebels' retreat. You withdraw from the square, down narrow back streets and alleyways under the cover of gunfire. The riders quickly lose track of you. Only Otten's scream of rage reaches your ears now. Just wait till I get my hands on you, you filthy slut! You'd better thank the twins I have more important matters to attend to. In a quiet space, surrounded by several houses with boarded-up doors and windows, Sophia's rebels take a moment to lick their wounds. They join your fighters next. Few of those rebels survive, but they have guns, training, and tenacity to see this through to the very end. While everyone recovers, you wander away to find Sophia. She's sitting on the doorstep of an abandoned house, far from the rest of you. I almost got us all killed, Theodore, if it weren't for you. Otten tried to turn our own men against us. He told him I was crazy. I couldn't let him keep lying like that. You put a hand on Sophia's shoulder. Ever since this all began, you have both known that the revolt would cost you dearly. Right now, all you can do is keep fighting no matter what. And if any other members of the last straw get scared and try to switch sides, when faced with fire and blood, you'll show them no mercy. Sophia should know that you will be by her side until the very end. Sophia gets back on her feet, angry flecks of gold glowing in her eyes again. You're right, no mercy. If they listen to the enemy, they are the enemy too. I won't make the same mistake again. I'm through second-guessing myself. The people need me. My place is here, in the street. I need to lead the people, give them a purpose, give them a leader, and grind the old order into dust. There's a big gathering at the Empire Square over by the Chancellery. I should be there. If we want to fend off the Legion, I gotta bring this whole city together under the banner of the last straw. But we still got plenty of enemies in Anazot. I hear Otten and his militia have just moved out to the prefecture. They want to execute Elborn and his judges for treason. There's lots of people by the prefecture. We need them by our side. Who knows? Maybe even Elborn will join us. Should head there. I'll start getting people together in the Empire Square. Sophia squeezes your hand so hard it hurts. And come back to me as soon as you can, okay, Theodore? Can't do this without you. You squeeze her hand in return, and then you part ways. Sophia and her most loyal rebels leave for the Empire Square. Your next stop is the prefecture. The rebels are winning. Ah, my regiment. My regiment has increased. So I can defend the city now. I would need more willpower, though, to do it. And I would need more of the common folk on my side to defeat the Legion. Oh, there's my willpower. I gotta get more, man. I gotta get more. Oh, God. We've got 2 ticks left. This is skeggy. The searing sun looms high in the sky above the rebellious city. The square in front of the prefecture is packed with commoners. Just a moment ago, they boldly demanded that the judges and gendarmes side with the rebellion. But now they're terrified. They fear the noble army that is coming for them. Their calls for rebellion are gone, replaced by frightened screams. Hooves thunder against the cobblestones. The earth quakes behind their feet. The noble militia, led by Dorius Otten, carves a path through the human sea. The terrified rebels scatter as the riders approach. The gendarmes remain where they are, forming a tight circle around the prefecture of Elborn. The prefect calls out to the crowd, his voice hoarse. Everyone stay calm, let them through. Do not draw your weapons. Otten's riders push the mob aside and eventually reach the tall building. The Archnean commander draws in his reins only when the gendarmes all that separate him from the prefecture stairs. Prefect Elborn, how dare you disobey the orders of the province's rightful rulers? You've abused your position to appease the rebels and defy imperial rule. This inconceivable rebellion is your fault. It's time for you to accept your well-earned punishment. In the name of the Archduke Melanidas, I hereby order you and your gendarmes to surrender your weapons. The supreme judge of the prefecture maintains his composure in the face of his recrimination. I only obey the laws of the Empire, Sir Otten. Not you or your runaway Archduke. Otten's face contorts into a predatory grin. Excellent! You've had your chance to save face, old man. Instead of a dignified execution, you and your cronies will hang, like the foul rabble you betrayed us for. Otten lifts his sword skyward, prepared to order an assault. The riders behind him are ordered to attack, or about to attack. The gendarmes ready their clubs, their hands are trembling, they will not stand a chance against the noble cavalry. The mob begins to shift about to flee the square. The fate of the moment hangs by a thread. Stay out of it. Less power, less order. Lose power and order, extra willpower, and Elborn just dies. I get Otten and Elborn to reconcile. Actually, I can't do this. One of these must be true, Knight of the Serpents or Broken Chains. Whoops. I wouldn't even have the diplomacy for this one. I'm also a rebel, so this wouldn't work regardless. I'm a rebel, so I couldn't overthrow Elborn. Challenge Otten to a duel. I'm a rebel, so I couldn't do this even if I wanted to. And I'm not the defender of the Empire, so I can't get Otten's army to abandon him, which would go crazy. Holy shit. I can rouse the mob and encourage them to defend the prefect. Which would sway order and power. Order would decrease. Oh shit. Power would increase. Okay. Yeah. The revolt would go up by 2. Troops, I would get a 3rd troop. My willpower would decrease, though. And I would turn Elborn into a rebel. Oh, goodness. The thing is, to defend the city, I'm gonna need more fucking willpower. I'm not leading the revolt regardless, so... Not the defender of the Empire. Common folk over equal to 2. Willpower over equal to 0. Augustin Elborn is not the defender of the Empire. Oh shit. Turning Elborn into the defender of the Empire is a funny way to put it. Do I use a willpower for this to save this guy? What do I get out of this? Isn't he just like a lib? Saving him would probably be important. I don't know, he's probably a really important guy for this next couple of ones. Otten's riders advance on the gendarme. If you do nothing, the prefecture will fall. You need to act now. You leap into the mob, scramble up onto an overturned carriage, and call out to the throng. You hear voices throughout the crowd. It's Brant! Theodore Brant wants to say something. You shout as loudly as you can. People of Anazon, do not fear the wrath of the nobles. Your lives are finally yours for the first time since the Empire was founded. Cast off the lot of humility. You are many, they are few. It's time to fight. For years and years, the prefecture has always been there to protect the rights and freedoms of the common man. We cannot let it fall back in enemy hands. Stop them, protect the prefect. Elborn hears you over the din of the struggle in the prefecture stairs. His voice joins yours. Show them you have no fear. Take your rights by force. I, Prefect Elborn, I am on your side. Your words inspire the people with a sense of solidarity. They have much to lose now, and they will not surrender their freedom without a fight. In the blink of an eye, the unwieldy throngs bristle with heavy sticks, wooden clubs, makeshift spears. You start giving orders from the impromptu podium, commanding this newfound army to assault the rear of Otten's cavalry. Cut the rabble down, no mercy. The cavalry turns to face them with an onslaught of sharp steel. Bones crack beneath the hooves, swords slice through defenseless flesh. The stench of blood fills the square as fallen bodies dissipate in the glimmering dust. You keep doling out furious commands, trying to ensure the common folk are not routed. Hold the line, stand your ground. Better a lesser death than eternal slavery. The riders smash onto them again, but the line holds. The people have numerical superiority, and their spears and clubs strike back. The cavalry begins to drown in a sea of humanity. The gendarmes hit Otten's warriors from the rear. One by one, the riders are dragged from their horses. The noble militia falters. Traitorous filth, retreat! Otten and his surviving horsemen turn tail and flee, furiously carving a path with their swords. At least half of Otten's men have fallen in this battle. Cries of victory fill the square. The commoners shake their weapons, eager to follow your orders. But it's far too early to celebrate. You've only fought off one assault. Prefect Elborn finds you in the boisterous crowd. Theodore, your courage has saved the prefecture. I'm with you until the end. Whatever you need from me, you will have it. We need to hurry now. The noble militia we've seen in the city pales in comparison to the forces of the Legion. I'll gather our forces at the prefecture and establish a unified command structure. You should find Abbot Leonard and aid him in any way you can. His procession must be en route to the Silver Tree by now. The enemies of the new faith are waiting there, weapon in hand. They'll massacre each other if we don't stop them, Brant. The city is a powder keg with a short fuse. More fire and blood is the last thing we need. What we need is more allies, and having Leonard on our side is crucial. We need a spiritual leader who can unite the city against the Legion. You nod to Elborn. The fate of the feud between the two faiths will be decided in the clash of the Silver Tree. You have to be there. You wish the prefect luck? Then muster your loyal forces, head for the tree. It's a bloodbath. But I have the troops. And I've lost all my energy. I have no willpower for this fucking fight, man. The march of the new faith. I have the troops, I have the common folk on my side. I simply need the willpower. I might step out of this one just so I can get more energy. I need one more common folk point though. Damn. Sophia is leading the revolt at the end of the day. An enormous sea of humanity flows through Anazon, filling the streets of the Temple District. They are led by Abbot Leonard. The new believers walk peacefully behind him, many of them women and the elderly. They are unarmed. Their faces show neither fear nor anger. They're so drastically unlike the throngs of rebels who are currently ransacking streets and looting noble houses. The procession slowly makes its way toward the Temple of the Silver Tree. The temple has always been where patriarchs of the church accept their sacred duty, along with the heavy burden of responsibility for their flock before the twin gods. When a patriarch speaks, the twins pay heed, and every 80 years it falls upon the patriarch to proclaim in their sight how their world is humbly following the lot it has been given. Long, long after the twins descended to our world, the patriarchs came to be elected at the conclave by the clergy. This tradition has continued for many years. Today, dozens of priests have come to the temple in spite of the unrest to conduct the rite and spare the twins' world from their wrath. And now thousands of commoners are walking to the same temple to elect a new patriarch themselves. You and your followers take a side street to the temple, avoiding the immense procession. Soon the square by the tree is packed, teeming, overwhelmed. But the stairs to the temple doors cannot be reached. A stalwart phalanx of champions of the faith blocked the way, with Jean in the lead. They are joined by the Inquisitors, those who have decided to walk the path of the old faith until the very end. Will not allow you into the temple, Leonard. These heretics will not make you patriarch. Father Leonard slowly begins to ascend the stairs. He does not argue with Jean. The abbot simply faces her with a humble smile and gestures to the people standing behind him. Doubt clouds the champions' faces. Leonard's procession is truly staggering. Even if they were mere commoners, even if they were unarmed and empty-handed, there are simply too many of them to be stopped by a few dozen old believers. Sister Jean, look at them. Are they truly heretics, all of them? They're just people, our brothers and sisters in faith. Why would the Inquisition treat us like enemies? We do not reject the twins' gods. We seek them with our every thought. You rejected the law of the younger when you chose to seek their own laws. No, Jean. The only thing we reject is Asatius' error. This argument has been going on for years, Leonard. I know each and every point you can make. Don't even bother. You will not enter the temple. And all of these people, you're just dragging them down to the foot of the pillar along with you. How can you still not understand this after so many years? What do you think you're doing, Leonard? Don't you fear the wrath of the gods? I do not, Jean. When I become patriarch, I will tell the twins that we still love and revere them, just as we always have, even as we seek different paths to them. The twins will hear us, they will listen, they will understand. There will be no wrath of the gods. The new believers heed Leonard's words. They begin to firmly ascend the stairs to the door of the temple. The champion swords do not deter them. Jean watches the massive congregation approach her eyes filled with remorse. She raises an arm about to give her final order. Champions of faith, protect the sacred temple, fight to the bitter end. You reach the foot of the stairs as she speaks these words. This is your last chance to intervene. Lead the procession to the temple? Impossible. I'm simply not Cassius' overthrown and tortured the new faith. Stand with Jean and drive the procession away. Save the new believers from bloodshed, which would cost me a willpower. But it would put the clergy on my side a little and would give me another revolt. Father Leonard is defeated and Jean gets a true death. I might just walk away, because I don't really need this extra clergy point for anything. Fend them off with the champions of the faith. Order the priests to attack. That's funny. I can walk away. That gives me revolt and willpower. Father Leonard gets a true death and Jean gets buried alive. Order -2. Yeah. No. Sorry. I don't really care whose faith wins here. There can never be peace between the Inquisition and the new believers. Sister Jean is right. The dispute between them has been going on for years. Neither side will ever yield to the other. You've nothing to gain here, and everything to lose. You gesture to your followers hurriedly, fall back. You watch Jean from a safe distance, no longer able to bear the tension. She orders her warriors to attack. In the name of the younger, go forth. Drive them from this square. The champions of the faith obey Jean's order. They get into formation, begin advancing on the new believers, weapons in hand. The unarmed mob recoils in fear, but those in the front row are pushed from behind and driven onto the blades. Blood spatters onto the stairs of the sacred temple. A woman's voice lets out a shrill scream. Panic spreads to the mob like wildfire. Chaos fills the minds of women and men. They begin pushing, pulling, dashing, recoiling like frightened animals. And the warriors of the church keep advancing, unrelenting, and lethal. A mighty gust of wind rushes over the square. It roars, howls, almost screams, filled with remorse, agony, and wrath. The earth begins to tremble beneath your feet, before your very eyes, as though in some terrible nightmare. The roof of the sacred temple begins to shake, and the pillars start to sway back and forth. No! By the twins, what is happening? Holy shit. The streets jerk beneath you, buckling slightly. Some of your men struggle to remain on their feet. You cannot look away from the square and the terrifying sight unfolding there. As people try in vain to escape the divine reckoning, after a few minutes, silence falls. Where the temple of the Silver Tree once stood, there is nothing. The grand majestic structure is no more. It's been leveled to the ground. Holy shit. Remnants of its walls and roof are strewn across the square like building blocks, scattered by a massive hand. The stairs that once led to it have been ground into gravel. A cloud of dust slowly settles upon the square. After the dust comes to the leaves, thousands and thousands of leaves shed by the silver tree. They cover the corpses of the truly dead like pale white shroud. The entire square glows as the bodies of those yet to be reborn dissolve into nothingness. There are so many that the light stings your eyes, even though the thick dust still hangs over it all. Just how many people met their deaths today? You do not see another living soul in the square. Neither Leonard nor Jean survived the temple's collapse. The two irreconcilable enemies were both buried in the rubble. The wrath of the gods knows no mercy. What's done is done. There's no changing it. You begin mustering your forces and prepare to move to the Empire Square. Enormous crowds of people are already on their way there, about to choose the leader of the Anazat Rebellion. The sun slowly begins to set. Acquainted, Jean has been buried alive. This is a lawless land. The revolt is now a full bloodbath. I got a little willpower, but maybe not in time. Maybe not in time. I think we made the right choice saving Elborn, though. The sun is setting. The blood-red sky quavers on the hot smoke from the fires raging throughout the city. You cannot help but recall a passage from the Lives of the Twins, one of the many pages Mother used to quote when you were a child. And the elder said, "Lo, I have cast a flame into the world, and I shall guard it until it begins to blaze." Could this passage be referring to today? You lead your followers to Empire Square. You walk around rubble, past abandoned carriages, unfinished barricades. There have clearly been clashes here recently. The dust of the departed is still rising into the sky. Thousands fill the square before the Chancellery, well over half the commoners of Anazat. The Chancellery has been under rebel control since noon. All Imperial officials either fled or were torn apart by the mob. Scraps of rumors and gossip reach your ears as you move closer. Did you hear what happened at the Great Tree? It's the Inquisitors. They just started slaughtering folk. They grabbed them swords of theirs and started killing unarmed people. Leonard's procession made it to the temple. There was a sign from the twins. All lies. The twins got angry and destroyed them all under the tree. The temple's gone, I tells you. Gone for good. The crowd is on edge. Any dispute could explode into a brawl. A voice from the Chancellery stairs calls for another people's court. The mob turns as one. Several last-straw rebels drag a handful of well-dressed nobles out into the steps and force them to their knees. The leader of the executioners is a preacher with a mane of unkempt hair and the wild eyes of a lunatic. The younger, he speaks through us, he does. He gave us the power of his law, the power to punish our enemies, to execute them. Anyone who stands in our way is an enemy of the twins themselves. People, it's time to judge these enemies of the simple folk. What is your sentence? The mob roars so loudly the square shakes. Death! True death. The last straw rebels ready their guns. One of the captives gets to his feet and speaks out defiantly. Frederick L. Liberius. You dare call this pathetic freak show a people's court? You don't have the power, you never have, and you never will. You think you can wield the law of the twins? Bah! We'll come back, and we'll make you pay. The aged nobleman's last words are drowned out by the thunderous volley of gunfire. One by one, the nobles collapse, their bodies pierced by bullets. They remain where they fall. The mob gasps in amazement. There can be no doubt, the People's Court has the power to mete out true death at will. This is what will happen to anyone who dares to oppose us. All hail the revolt, all hail our leader, all hail Sophia. Sophia's gonna lead us. She's gonna fend off the Legion. She's gonna bring justice. First to Anazat, then to the whole Empire. She's gonna tear down the old ways and wipe all them tyrants and nobles from the face of the world. The mob explodes into an ecstatic chant. They shout one word over and over again. Sophia! Sophia! An enormous throng bellows wildly, eager to see the face of their leader. Unite the rebels around Sophia. Oh, that would still take my willpower. This would give me the common folk point that I do need. But it's not like I need any of this stuff now. Take control of the revolt. This would give me leading the revolt. But Sophia would not have to be doing it. Break up the mob, that's funny. Destroy the morale, also funny. Manipulation, whoa. Overthrow Sophia, whoa. Do not get involved. My willpower. Watch what happens next. Oh, this is how you get it to collapse. Thanks to you, Sophia will never heed the mob's call. There will be no one to lead the people. Whoa! That's funny. That's if we were really sneaky. This would give me an extra troop and more common folk. I think this is the last bit of it. I'm gonna not get involved just in case. You keep your men away from the crowd and observe the situation from afar. This matter will be decided without your interference. The door of the Chancellery swings open and Sophia emerges from before the thousands of people gathered in the square. Her silhouette seems to blaze in the light of the setting sun. She raises a clenched fist in the air, demanding silence. The enormous crowd instantly ceases its murmuring. The voice of the leader of the revolt rings with a frigid fury. People of Anazot, today is not only the day we took up arms and cast off our shackles, today is the first day of a new era. We will begin by taking back our city, we will eliminate anyone who dares to stand in our way, then we will declare war against the old regime, against the entire empire, no mercy. Upon hearing these words, even the most frantic rebels fall silent. A frightened murmur ripples through the crowd. Is Sophia asking them to take on the entire world? Sophia lifts her hands high, her eyes gleam with yellow light. The mob involuntarily grows quiet and watches its leader, rapt with attention. Sophia's golden glow is reflected in thousands of eyes. That's right! War. No mercy. Nobles, defenders of the old faith, the tyrants of the old regime, they will all be executed by the People's Court. Every single enemy of the Anazati revolt will be eliminated. Arm yourselves, find and execute our enemies before the Legion reaches the city, and then, when the bell tolls, go to the walls. We will unite the entire city and take our freedom by force. The people echo Sophia's cry. Artisans, merchants, peasants from the outskirts of Anazat, they all take up arms and join the ranks of the last straw. The crowd storms the streets, ready to unleash its wrath against the temples and noble houses alike. You lead your supporters out of the square. The time for the last battle has come. The watchmen inform you that the Legion is only a few hours away. Will the outcome of the revolt be decided in combat, or is there a peaceful solution? It all depends on the actions you take in the coming hours. Okay. I got my willpower. It's time for the last call. Will we survive, or is it true death for us? I'm thinking it's true death. I am a rebel. That is true. It is mere moments from midnight. The glow of the shining pillar is barely visible behind the crimson clouds coming in from the north. But the darkness hangs above the city is dissipated by countless lights. Crowds of people holding torches, stakes burning in the squares, houses in flames. The glow of the fires can also be seen from beyond the walls. The Legion marches down the road, inexorably approaching the gates of the city in the throes of the rebellion. The final battle draws near. All the forces that have chosen to defy the Overseer and the Empire flock to the city gates, where you have set up your base. The soldiers of the last straw assemble commoners into squads and hastily arm them. Other rebels are led by nobles of the mantle and former members of the Legion who have joined the revolt. The priests who have sided with you will spread the word of the twins from the city walls, attempting to convince the Legion soldiers to retreat and allow the people of Anazat to be freed of the lots. Preparations are also in full swing at the camp of the defenders of the Old Order, who have established a foothold in the ruins of Char Melanidus' palace. Soon their fate will be decided. Will they crush the revolt and aid the Legion, or be crushed themselves by the new era? There's almost no time left, just enough for one last attempt to tip the scales in your favor. Will you spend this final hour appealing to one of your allies for help, or would it be wiser to wait and muster your forces for the final battle? I can go see Elborn. Leonard. Father Leonard, the Patriarch. Ask your family for help. Gather the soldiers of the last straw. Muster your forces. Go see Elborn. Gives me +1 for noble. That's funny. The prefect will help you win over the nobles who have yet to choose a side. We should do that. Will you attempt to defeat the Legion and the Overseer's army in combat, or persuade them to retreat without engaging in battle? The fate of Anazat is in your hands. I don't know how this is going to end, because I don't think I can take any of these except the massacre. I'm not in charge, so I can't defend the city. I think there's really only one way this can play out. No outcome achieved is very funny. I'm gonna take the extra willpower. I don't know. This day has already turned out to be the most arduous of your entire life, and the hardest part is yet to come. You need to take advantage of this lull to clear your mind. Who knows? Perhaps your inner strength is what will decide the outcome of the coming clash. You walk away from the army's noisy preparations, sit on a parapet, watch the city burn. Off in the distance, you can just make out the district where you were born and raised. Your memories bring you back to a time when you first walked these streets. In your mind's eye, you see young faces of Thomas, Stefan, Gloria, but that's all in the past now. Midnight strikes. You can hear the menacing tread of the Legion outside the city walls. The time has come. You order your troops to assemble and prepare to defend the wall. Alright, the battle for Andazad. Revolt over 6, Sophia is leading the revolt. It's time for a massacre. Oh, this is gonna be gross. The dark void beyond the walls of Andazad is lit by hundreds of lights. Heavy boots tread the soil, armor clanks, halberds gleam. Drums beat a lively march, lit by the glow of torches. The Magran Legion approaches the city walls. Gaius Tempest himself leads the Legion. It's the Overseer's duty to crush the revolt this very night and pacify the city before news of the incident spreads throughout the Empire. If the Overseer's hesitation allows the revolt to last even a few days, it could jeopardize not only his position, but even the fate of the entire province that has been entrusted to him. Before ordering assault, the Overseer sent a message to the city. My subjects! Lay down your arms this instant and open the gate. I know that you have been deceived by the insurgency. You have my word as an Arcanian ruler that I will spare anyone who aids the Legion and turns over the leaders of the revolt. Should you disobey this order from your lawful ruler, none of you will escape disgrace, execution, and eternal torment at the foot of the Shining Pillar. But the Overseer's threat only further enraged the rebels. An entire city rebelling against the Imperial rule. Nothing like this has happened for generations. But not even experts in ancient history could have imagined what is happening on the streets of Andazad at this moment. The decisions you made today have led the entire city to rise up against Imperial rule. By nightfall, everyone who has ever suffered from noble tyranny has taken to the streets in support of the last straw. Even those who began the day cowering in terror from the Overseer's wrath have now emerged from their homes and joined your cause. The Commoner's fear has been eclipsed by their rage. They march through the city in droves, ready to dispense their own justice. By sunset, even the most loyal defenders of the Empire have come to realize that all hope is lost. The Loyalists have amassed considerable forces at Char Melandus' palace, but they are too late. Hordes of furious commoners storm their camp, crushing any resistance. Exhausted and demoralized by the futile fight, many defenders of the Old Order flee mob justice or surrender and accept their death with dignity. The moans of those trampled by the incensed throng can be heard throughout the camp. Abandoned Imperial banners are hurled into the fire. Make way! The crowd grows silent and parts before Sophia. The leader of the revolt is disheveled, her clothes stained with blood, but a predatory smile lingers on her face. Here, amidst the fire and madness, she has finally found her place in the world. Just look at your former masters now. Pathetic, aren't they? They thought they could put us in chains again, but they dropped their swords at the first sight of us. They lied to you for centuries, telling you it was your lot to suffer and break your back for them. But look who's suffering now. I give you my word. Tonight, we're gonna execute anyone who isn't on our side, every single one of them, and then we'll feast among the ruins of the old world. The crowd roars, shaking their weapons in the air. Now the only thing standing between us and freedom is the Legion. But we'll take down the Overseer's troops just like we took down the Emperor's lackeys here in Andazad. But first we need to get rid of the rest of the enemies and traitors in this camp. Sophia takes a glance around the site of the recent massacre. Her merciless gaze stops at you. Brant! The time has come. This moment will determine your place in history. Accept death? That's funny. Defender of the Empire? Not quite. I get to fire and then die anyway. Get the Andazad massacre and true death. Take charge of the bloodbath? Oh! Oh! There can be no mercy for the enemies of the revolt. You will be responsible for dispensing vigilante justice and defending the walls from the Legion. Oh, I like that one. I can do the Andazadi massacre myself. Stop the slaughter? No. Flee? No. I'll do it myself. You cannot change the outcome of the battle for Andazad, but it's not too late to save your own life. Scheming has to be at least 12. That's funny. That's funny as fuck. Oh, no. We're taking charge of this bloodbath. Of course I'm gonna help Sophia in this. Gaius Tempest dies and he loses. That's funny as fuck. No, let's do this. You meet Sophia's gaze. You share her ruthless determination. Together you will dispose of anyone who dares to stand in your way. The path you've chosen will lead to plenty of blood and suffering, but you are both ready. Your cause leaves no room for hesitation. You handle the executions, Theodore, but hurry. The Legion is about to attack. At least we don't have to worry about getting attacked from the rear. Go on, get your verdicts. I'll be waiting for you up on the walls. Leaving a small squad with you, Sophia rushes off to defend the gate. You eagerly get to work. Your soldiers dash around the wrecked camp and drag all the survivors to one spot. High-ranking nobles, inquisitors, commoners from the enemy militia, they are all thrown to the ground at your feet. You're surrounded by a horde of enraged commoners, desperate to strangle their enemies with their bare hands. You order them to restrain themselves. This is not how it is done. Do they want their enemies to come back from the hereafter and take revenge? You need the verdict of the People's Court. At your order, the captives are lined up and forced to their knees. The crowd cheers in bloodthirsty anticipation, eager for their next execution. The gunmen raise their muskets. You address the people of Anazat loudly, announcing that these are the enemies of their freedom who have dared to take up arms against the great cause of the revolt. What is their verdict? True death. The gunmen take aim and fire. Again and again, until the last of the captives falls. Their bodies pierced by bullets. They twitch helplessly, then lie still. Meanwhile, you can hear the din of battle from the walls. Siege ladders fly up against the ramparts. The ground shakes with the heavy tread of the Legion's iron boots. You must hurry. You assemble a squad and head towards the gate. It's slow going. Fires have blanketed Anazat in acrid smoke. The noble districts are in flames, as is the chancellery. The temples of the Old Faith are ablaze, and the priests who refuse to join the rebels are burned alive within. Bodies dressed in luxurious clothing float face down in the fountains. The bodies of those executed by firing squad lay in heaps by the walls. The cobblestones are littered with the corpses of those hurled from the windows of their own homes. Robbers loot the crypts of old noble families, tossing ancient bones into the dirt. But right now, the streets are empty. Everyone capable of holding a weapon is rushed to defend the gate. By the time you arrive, the battle has already reached its peak. Deafening gunshots ring out from above. Brant, come in! We fought off the first attack. Is that a skull? No. You clamber up onto the wall, giving orders as you go, as if placing toy soldiers. You almost bump into Sophia. She's excited. Her face is black from gunpowder smoke. She squeezes your shoulder. We repelled the first attack, Theodore. That blue-faced bastard sent us a herald. Said we should lay down our arms and surrender. I shot him right in the head. Meanwhile, the Overseer orders another assault. Take the wall! Come on, men! They're just commoners! They don't stand a chance against you! This time, Gaius Tempest sends 2 battalions of heavy infantry at the wall to the left of the gate. They're followed by archers. Not even gunshots can stop this attack. The ladders fly up. A hail of arrows pelt your position. Hold the line. I'll hit the archers. You hold the wall. Don't let them through. The defenders on the walls attempt to throw the ladders back, hurling stones at their assailants and pouring boiling oil on them. But the onslaught's too strong. One by one, the Legion soldiers begin to leap from their ladders and onto the city walls. If you falter now, all is lost. You gather your best men and send them against the Legion soldiers. The walls erupt into bloody mayhem. All over the walls, the bodies of the fallen fade into brilliant flashes of light. You and your soldiers desperately hack, shoot, and hurl enemies from the walls. The siege ladders fall to the ground below. The attack has been repelled. Twice more, Gaius Tempest orders his troops to attack the wall. Twice more, the walls are stained with blood. Twice more, your soldiers withstand the onslaught. The dawn is drawing near. Even from your position on the walls, you see the Legion soldiers slowly, hesitantly regrouping for their next attack. Desperate, the Overseer himself steps forward to address his demoralized troops. Are you really afraid of some commoners who can barely hold a weapon? Don't fear them, you fools. Fear the wrath of your Emperor. Fear the wrath of the Tempests. It is your sacred duty to re-establish imperial rule in Anazat. The city will fall, and its pathetic rebellion will be crushed. Go forth. I will lead the charge myself! Oh my god! The Overseer raises his ancient sword high above his head. The Legion soldiers shudder. No member of the royal family has taken up arms in centuries. The first rays of the rising sun appear on the horizon, breaking through the gray storm clouds. Led by its royal commander, the Legion begins its decisive attack. Ragged, covered in blood, barely able to stand, you get the surviving soldiers back on their feet, order them to defend the city one last time. Not even the twins themselves could get through this gate. But the time for speeches has long passed. Now there is only smoke, blood, clanking of swords. Now you can just fight and win. You see the Imperial banner flutter before you. The Legion and soldiers are scaling the wall, the Overseer himself first among them. You and your men rush toward the banner. You will capture Gaius Tempest. Sensing that victory is close at hand, your warriors use their last ounce of strength to break through to the enemy commander. The Legionnaires try to form a defensive ring around the Overseer, but the enraged rebels dash them aside like toy soldiers. Gaius Tempest is surrounded. Wielding his sword masterfully, he slays one of your soldiers after another. Sophia suddenly emerges from behind him, her furious visage aglow with sorcerous sparks. Freeze! Against his will, the Archnean nobleman stumbles and halts. It's now or never. You charge at your enemy and knock the blade from his hand. Still bound by Sophia's spell, Gaius Tempest stares at you in astonishment. A dozen soldiers pin him against the wall. Sophia stops beside you, casting a mocking glance at the defeated commander. Who's the master now, huh? The leader of the revolt picks up a fallen Imperial banner and tosses it off the edge of the wall. Down below, the soldiers of the Legion begin to flee. You've won! The surviving defenders on the wall lean against the Merlins, exhausted or simply collapse. Down by the gate, you hear triumphant shouts like a wave. They roll further, over the streets and the squares, over the entire city. Victory! Anazot has won its freedom. The Overseer glares at you icily. There is genuine bitterness in his voice. Madman, you've doomed your city! It will be destroyed! I was not your enemy until you forced me to send my army against you. One step at a time, I would have changed this province. I would have made your lives better. But now the entire force of the Empire is about to come crashing down upon you. The punishment for your insolence will be terrible indeed. And what was it all for? What do you hope to achieve? Freedom from butchers like you. Butchers like me? And what exactly do you think you are? You withstood my attack today, now what? Do you want the entire world at war? What will become of the Empire after all your revolt? You look back at your city, crimson in the glow of the flames and the rays of the rising sun. You turn back to your former ruler. I want to burn it all down. Those who used to be in power will burn. The old regime will burn. The endless injustice the Empire is built on, it will all burn. Sophia grabs the captive commander by the neck and forces him to face the city. A massive crowd has gathered by the gate. Everyone is watching, waiting to see what will become of the Overseer. See? See how many of us there are? Your day is done. Say bye-bye to your power, Blueface. Oh. Why she hit the fucking... Come on now. You don't have to hit the Marvel fucking memory moment. They're gonna kill his ass, by the way. Sophia raises a fist in the air and proclaims victory before the entire city. People of Anazot, we've won! Nothing in the Empire can stop us now. But remember, this was just the beginning. Next, we're gonna put the whole Empire on trial, and the first person we're gonna judge is Gaius Tempus, your former Overseer and the Emperor's brother. You know all about his crimes against you. What is your verdict, people of Anazot? The fateful words roll through the square, like thunder. True death. This cannot be! The law is divine! Only the twins can grant the right to judge! Sophia hands you a dagger. Theodore Brant will carry out the sentence. Raising the blade aloft, you step toward Gaius Tempus as he kneels before you. The crowd roars. Strength beyond imagining surges through your arm. With one swift motion, you slit the former Overseer's throat. Royal blood runs down your fingers. The man who just yesterday was one of the most powerful Archneans in the Empire collapses at your feet. You raise the bloody dagger high in the air. The Empire has been sentenced to death. Time stands still. You look back at the years gone by, all the difficult decisions you had to make, all the actions that helped you take your place in history. You put an end to the old era with your own hand. Your destiny has been fulfilled. He's dead. The Overseer is dead. Go, people! There are plenty of enemies left in this city. It's high time they learn the true meaning of suffering. Find them, capture them, execute them. Brant will lead you. The bloody procession begins to scour Anazot for enemies of the revolt. Once the city is purged, it will continue its march from province to province. In time, it will reach the capital, and then the throne of the Emperor himself. And you are in command of it. That's true death. A reign of terror under a new faith in a lawless land of misery and devastation. The revolt led by Sophia wins at the cost of a relentless massacre. Maybe it was the right ending. We fucking
Fire
did it!
and blood engulfed the streets of Anizote
Anizote?
before spreading to the rest of the Empire.
I survived the revolt. I fucking survived. I escaped true death. Look at me, dude. A new day dawns. Look at us, dude. Look at us. The Anizote massacre. The Anizote. Hey, look at me. I had no family. My family got fucked up. It is morning. You stumble along a now empty back street, utterly exhausted after the most trying night of your life. An elderly stranger in threadbare cloak shambles down the road in the opposite direction. The old man looks around cautiously at every step, seemingly struggling to remember where he's going. As you approach him, he suddenly stops and speaks to you. Good morning to you. You slow down for the old man and warily return his greeting. May I ask you for a favor, friend? You barely have the energy to waste today, but there is something about this old stranger's voice that compels you to listen. A favor? What kind of favor? Well, my brother and I had a disagreement, you see, and I want to know who was right. Is that Stefan? My brother says this world is already perfect as it is. The twins made it like this, after all. The old stranger pauses, casting a glance over the street, the charred carcasses of buildings and homes, the overturned carriages, the dried blood stains on the paving stones. And I told my brother that, no matter what their initial design may have been, the world as it is now needs to change. So then my brother asked me what exactly needs changing, but I had no answer for it. So here I am, wandering around, tormented by this question. Would you help us settle our dispute, my good man? Who's in the right here, me or my brother? If you were in the twins' place, what would you do? What about this world needs changing? I would grant the world forgiveness. I am not a Nathan Brant. That's Nathan. It's Nathan. Nathan Brant is not a prophet. Life is a long road and mistakes are notable. The twins ought to grant mortals hope for forgiveness. Say you would leave the world alone. The twins did create the world, but now they ought to leave their creations in peace and refrain from meddling in the affairs of men. You would take better care of the world. It should never have been so distant from their creation. Mortals need their care, assistance, and supervision. You would free mortals from their lots. If it were up to me, you would make it known that everyone is free to choose their own lot and their own path to the twins. I would destroy the world. The twins' creation is nothing more than a monstrous cage, a dark dungeon that dooms mortals to life suffering. If you had made this world, you would destroy it with your own hands. Say nothing and walk away. You leave the old man's question unanswered. You would free the mortals from their lots. Twins ought to grant mortals hope for forgiveness. I agree. Maybe it really was a religious ending. Honestly, I'd probably leave the world alone. Probably do it the exact same way that they did it. You respond with a you respond with a suspicious frown. Very well. If he wants to know your opinion, here it is. No one, not even the twins themselves, can judge the creation as long as it dwells beneath their tireless gaze, trembling in the fear of their merciless godhead. The twins showed mortals the way to the peak of the pillar, yes, and they granted them a tiny portion of their will so they could choose their own path. But then why do the twins now act as watchmen over their own creation, guarding the world like a prison ward? If you were them, you would have freed people from their unwanted, never-ending care and distanced yourself from the world as much as possible. Mortals ought to be left to their own devices, for it is they, and not the twins, who will face the ultimate judgment. Then and only then will it be possible to judge the success or failure of their design. The elderly man listens carefully to your remonstrance. His shoulders slump as he heeds your every word. Finally he speaks, his voice muffled and strained. I can feel the pain and the truth in your words. Thank you, Theodore, for settling our disagreement. The old man shuffles away, his back bent. Wait, how did he know your name? You spin around, but the street is empty. Outcome of the revolt. We're getting all the endings. The last bits of furtive revolt. It only took a few days for the entire empire to learn of the revolt and the events that had transpired in Anazat. The unthinkable victory of the common folk over the war engine that was the Imperial Legion. The ruthless and fearsome leaders of the rebellion, the terrifying slaughter of the nobles, priests, and anyone who also stood in the insurgents' way. By the end of the second day, the revolt had reduced the city of Anazat to a charred, smoldering ruin. Thick, acrid smoke from burned buildings and gunpowder blanketed the city. Bodies swung from ropes on every street. The results of the justice of the People's Court, sprawled, abandoned, lead-riddled corpses could be found in every single square. The events of those days entered the annals of history as the Great Anazat Massacre. But the rebels were not content. Having purged all their enemies from Anazat, they immediately began to march across the province. Every town and village in their way was freed from the noble rule as the landowners fled in terror. The commoners abandoned their homes and armed themselves to fight beneath the banner of the last straw. The rebel army grew larger and stronger by the day. We're Napoleonic. We're Napoleonic now. So began their bloody campaign of destruction. Wherever the rebels marched, the old ways of the empire collapsed. They have no mercy, leaving nothing behind but smoldering ruins and the ashes of the dead. Age-old traditions burn as their ravenous flames consume town after town, city after city. The old noble dynasties are amassing their own armies beneath the banner of the Tempests to fight out this chaos, but the rebel hordes are already approaching the capital. There's no stopping them. Sophia's dream of waging war against the old world has begun. Regardless of the outcome, the Empire will never be the same again. Power. Pure, unadulterated power. The bloodthirsty march of the rebellion obliterated any semblance of the rule of law in Magra. The last straw and its followers massacred all the old rulers, leaving chaos and anarchy in their wake. It was only inevitable that the province would fall into the hands of outlaws and marauders. The old ways are gone, but can the people of Magra build something new in their place? The new faith endured the persecution of the Inquisition and survived Patriarch Cassius to become the dominant church in Magra. Since then, most Magran priests preach that everyone is free to find their own path of the twins. The old faith has lost the influence it once had. It survives only thanks to most uncompromising priests, the dynasties of old and fearful commoners in the most remote Magran villages. The crisis of the past few years have annihilated the province's former prosperity. The fertile fields have been scorched, the mines have been abandoned, the factories stand idle with no one to work in them. The looming threat of hunger and poverty drives the people to back-breaking labor and the tried and true ways of their ancestors. Commoners flee the cities in droves and flock to the villages and towns, hoping to squeeze some paltry nourishment from the inhospitable Magran soil. The province is on the verge of starvation and turmoil. Lawless anarchy replaced the old order, plunging Magra into chaos. The people of the province no longer know whose orders and which laws they are to follow, and the authorities that remain have no power to maintain order. The most reckless commoners become outlaws and thieves, the nobles feud amongst themselves, bloodshed, looting, and wanton cruelty become commonplace in Magra, and this lawlessness soon spreads to the rest of the empire. The Anazote rebellion was followed by more omens that shook the empire. The silver tree withered away, leaving nothing but a desiccated trunk and bare branches. Priests throughout the empire suddenly lost the power to perform divine miracles. Then the shining pillar began to recede into the distance until it was nothing, more than a pale sliver of light on the horizon. Those who prayed to the twins soon realized that they were no longer listening. The black marks of lesser deaths disappeared from the arms of those who had died and returned. Every death was now true and final. No mortal would ever have another chance to meet the gods before their final judgment. Without the twins watching over them, the people of the Empire are by terror. Change is coming. Damn, a world racked and ruined. But what became of Felipe Alfaro? Although Felipe escaped Anazote with his life shortly before the rebellion broke out, his ambitions still cost him dearly. The last straw, ostensibly a straw man of Felipe's own creation, incited a full-fledged revolt. The advisor took great pains to keep his work by secret, but his involvement in the revolt was eventually uncovered. Advisor Felipe Alfaro was found guilty of treason and plotting to take over Anazote. He met his end on the gallows in the main square of Eterna. But what became of Dorius Otten? The Arcanian commander fought with all his might against the rebellious rabble he so despised, yet even a skilled swordsman such as he was doomed when confronted with a citywide uprising. The haughty Arcanian became Sophia's prisoner, and so his life was forfeit. He spent his final moments in inconceivable agony. Sophia did not permit him to die until his spirit and body were completely and utterly broken. Long after the once invincible Dorius Otten was no more, the corpse of the mighty Arcanian remained chained to the Anazote gate. But what became of Augustin Elborn? He sided with the rebellion. When Prefect Augustin Elborn saw firsthand the atrocities being committed on the streets of Anazote, he did what he could to urge the people to stop Sophia and her henchmen by any means necessary. But he was too late. In the end, Elborn shared the same fate as the last straw's other enemies. The former judge faced death with dignity, showing no fear before the rebels' muskets. His face expressed only deep, bitter sorrow. Sir Elborn is remembered as one of the ringleaders of the Anazote massacre and the bloodthirsty rebellion that poisoned the entire empire. Cost him his own life. That's what you get for being a liberal. You side with the rebellion. You should side with the rebellion. What became of Father Leonard? Abbot Leonard had hoped to become the first patriarch elected by the people, but this was not meant to be. He got crushed. Get crushed, brother. The leader of the new faith met his end beneath the ruins of the very temple that had been entrusted into his care. He is remembered as a priest who provoked the wrath of the twins themselves and reduced the Empire's greatest holy place to a rubble. Thomas? Dishonorably discharged from the Legion, Thomas Guerrero began to roam the Empire. Your former friend did all he could to find a new place for himself, but the stigma he bore made it impossible to find a decent position. In the end, Thomas decided that he was no longer fit to bear the noble lot and settled down in a northern village. He lived the rest of his days toiling in the sweat of his brow, his former ambitions long forgotten. He fucking hit the Isekai. Oh, I'm so ready for Prince Jiren. We might be able to start it today. What became of Sophia? Ever since she was young, Sophia had been living embodiment of hatred, the spawn of every hideous injustice committed in the Empire. Hideous injustice. She prevailed and struggled for Anazote, and that victory finally revealed her true power. Now Sophia casts her shadow over every corner of the Empire, her eyes blazing with yellow flame, eager to incinerate every army and province in her path. No one can stop Sophia and defeat her bloodthirsty hordes. After the victory of Anazote, the invenerated rebel began a brutal war against the Old Order. A war that had seemed utterly unthinkable just a few years ago. A war of annihilation. Sophia is remembered as the woman who destroyed the Blessed Archean Empire and burned the whole world to the ground. What became of the Brant family? Well, the Brant family fell apart, rent asunder by squabbling and strife. Your family home grew desolate and empty long ago. None of you ever found a way to make peace, and in the end, your old grudges were stronger than the blood you shared. You remain strangers for the rest of your lives. Not me and Gloria were best friends. After his family fell apart, Robert Brant left Magra for the northern provinces. There, in another city, he found employment at the local prefecture as an assistant judge. The minor post allowed Robert to eke out a humble existence far from any power struggles or social turmoil. His family's woes, once the root of his unending suffering, were finally behind him, leaving him with nothing but bitter memories. He remained alone for the rest of his life and passed away in solitude. Your mother passed away from illness long before these events transpired. Lydia Brant was not there to see what became of her family. Having severed all ties with his family, Stefan had no reason to remain in Anazote. After abandoning his aspirations for the Brant bloodline, he fully dedicated himself to his own ambitions. Your former brother took on new name, Stefan Elborn. He moved to the capital and began working hard to earn himself a place in the Emperor's court. But in the end, Stefan was too plain-spoken to survive in the realm of courtly intrigue. His bold and ambitious nature swiftly earned him a plethora of enemies at court. Before long, he was falsely accused of plotting against the crown. Stefan's attempts to exonerate himself proved futile, and his life and honor met an ignoble end. Damn. Gloria's dream of becoming a full-fledged Brant was brutally shattered. The quarrel over her adoption ultimately tore the family apart. Her home and newfound family gone, Gloria left Anazote to escape her past and travel the Empire. She hoped to see the life of the common folk firsthand and transcribe the truth in her travel notes. The news of the revolt back in Anazote reached Gloria during her trip through the province of Illyria. She seized the opportunity right away and sparked an uprising against the crown among the local commoners. Good for her! However, the province's noble militia swiftly suppressed the riots. Gloria was captured and sentenced to hard labor in the mines for life. But not even hard labor could stop Gloria. She did her best to inspire her fellow prisoners to rise up against their captors. But rather than share her fervor, the other laborers turned her in, hoping for a reduced sentence. Gloria fought tooth and nail against the old ways, but she did not live long enough to see whether or not her efforts ever bore fruit. Instead, she met a swift and ignoble end. And Nathan? Your younger brother survived the revolt. When it passed, he found the strength to start his new life anew. You'd given him a glimmer of hope that he nurtured within his soul, and it helped him to accept the common lot as his path to the peak of the pillar. He dedicated the rest of his life to prayer, toil, humility. The suffering he had endured in his spiritual quest became the foundation of his faith. When the end came, Nathan departed to the twins' final judgment without fear. And Gregor? Not even in the afterlife did Gregor Brant see the realization of his great dream. His descendants failed to have the Brant name ennobled by the sword. The Brant bloodline has denied its chance to become one of the Empire's most eminent dynasties. The blood tide ushered in by Gregor Brant would never have another chance at immortality. Yeah, get over yourself. And me? Side by side with Sophia, you began the march against the old ways, and the rebellious hordes followed you. No one remembered your old name any longer, but your new name instilled terror in every corner of the Empire. The Butcher of Anazote. The cruelty with which you dispatched your enemies became the stuff of legend. Along the way, you faced many powerful foes and crushed them all, free from fear of death, unafraid of the twins' judgment. Again and again, you emerged from the flames to bring the common folk the freedom they so coveted, and they fought for you until they bled their last. You, the Butcher of Anazote, became a flame that incinerated the monstrous decrepit husk of an empire until nothing remained. But it was not your fate to see whether or not a new world would rise from the ashes of the old. So ends the life and suffering of Theodore Brant. True death. The hour of your death has come. Your soul has left your body, never to return. You're taken to the peak of the shining pillar. Look at me. Every moment separates you more and more from the mortal realm. The link that once bound you, it is gone forever. You look up to see two divine visages watching you intently. The elder twins gaze upon you, full of sorrow and compassion. The younger examines you dispassionately, seeing your every act and thought. You have ascended from the mortal realm. From here, you are but one step away from partaking in eternal bliss atop the peak of the shining pillar. But first, you must be judged by them, just as every other soul born in this world has been judged since time immemorial. Only their judgment can decide whether you deserve to remain atop the peak or be hurled down to the foot. You stand before the twins. Your very essence is laid bare before them, all the secrets of your inner self revealed in full. Your soul is like an open book to them, one that preserves the story of your entire life. You lie prostrate before the gods. The time has come to take responsibility for your mortal life. And the elder twins ask, are you thankful to the gods for the life you've lived? Your soul is filled with love for those who created you and give you a gift of life. You're glad the life was agony. You're happy to end the mortal existence and leave it behind. You feel no gratitude whatsoever to your creators. Your mortal life was yours and yours alone. You hate the world that the twins created as well as your entire mortal life. You regret how you squandered the twins' given gift of mortal life. You staunchly accept everything that happened to you in the world the twins created. Your life was your life. My immortal life was mine and mine alone. You hear your answer. They hear your answer. Compassion and remorse fill the immeasurably deep eyes of the elder twins. He turns to face his divine brother, who returns his gaze with an expression of stern remorse. The elder twins ask you once more, what was your life to you? Struggle. A struggle for belief. Suffering. Toil. Empathy. Creation. Service. Enlightenment. It was a struggle. Your life was a struggle for your beliefs. The elder twins bow his head wearily, considering your response, but the stern visage of the younger already looms above you. Human by the name of Brant, what did you live for? Principles, freedom, power, a cause. Happiness, faith, other people. There's nothing more important than living by your beliefs, some principles. The younger's gaze lingers on your bare, defenseless soul. The divine figure continues its stern interrogation. What did you leave behind? Change? Order? Doctrine? Nothing. Achievement? You left no mark on the mortal realm. Achievement? Legacy? Home. Change. The younger twin now moves towards you with clear intent, poised to render his judgment, but the elder twin restrains his brother with a gesture. A divine voice fills you again. Did your life make the world we made better and more perfect? Through your will, you managed to influence and improve the mortal world. It cannot be changed. No mortal can ever improve the world. Only the twins have this power. It did not be. You failed to change the fate of the world for the better. You don't know. It's not for me to judge. It became worse. You left the mortal world far more terrible place than it was before. Oh no, it became far better. Absolutely. The younger twin is silent, his eyes two swords piercing your soul. The elder twin speaks to you again, but you already know the question, the very same question that caused you so much suffering shortly before your true and final end. What determined your destiny? The world around me, of course. No one. A higher power. Destiny does not exist. Human life is an exercise in chance. It's not governed by any laws. The path was charged for you by the people, the age, and the society in which you live. How are you going to go from the world around you to no one? No shot. The world around you. The soul of a man named Brant lies prostrate at your feet. You've witnessed his entire life, known his every act, seen his every thought and desire. No other soul could ever walk the same path. So many difficult choices, so many emotions, so much pain. Another soul awaits your judgment. You know no mercy, nor does your brother. Every mortal must walk the path chosen for him to the very end. Those who abide by the precepts set forth by you and your brother shall return to you and become a part of you. Those who reject you shall know the eternal suffering of oblivion. Where does a man named Theodore Brant belong? This man shall be condemned to eternal suffering. This man shall know eternal bliss. What a bunch of shitty laws. That's eternal piss. That's eternal piss. To the peak. You gingerly grasp the fragile soul. Lift it up and turn to face your elder brother. You lift your sword. Your brother stands with arms akimbo, ready for the blow. The blade slices through his chest, blinding light gushes from the gash. You bring the minuscule soul to your brother's chest, and it dissolves into the streams of shimmering luminescence. A tiny fragment of your shared creation has rejoined the whole. The man named Brant is no more. There's only one. There is only the eternal fount in which he now abides. Interesting. A nobleman's sacrament. I met Thomas. The school begins. A lot of my choices ended up being completely worthless, like investing into Gloria. Aelis's rescue, I didn't get a lot out of it. There was a lot of the decisions that I made that I did not get a lot out of. Deanna's OT Massacre. I'm simply going to click the button to end my life. Never. Cool. Alright. That was the life and suffering of Sir Brant in the times of the fall of the Blessed Archean Empire. Now it's time for the life and suffering of Prince Tyrion. Wow, dude. I'm probably going to start the game to look at it, but I'm probably not going to start a run. With that being said, though, I think this is a good place to stop. Nice. We finally finished one of the games that we've been playing for like over a month now. There's not really much for me, so I guess I'll take off. I'll see everybody on Friday for some Team Fortress 2. Or maybe sooner if I'm up to it. With that being said, though, I hope everybody has a good rest of your night, your day, etc. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Johnny.